Hi, and welcome to The Sound of Self, the podcast that's all about empowering women in their 30s to make mindful shifts, find their purpose, and step into their power.
This podcast is not just about discussions, it's a movement. We're here to break through the barriers that hold women back from freely expressing themselves. The world needs your unique voice, and we're here to help you find it.
So thank you for joining Jess and Erin on The Sound of Self. Let's unlock the power within and create a life that resonates with the true essence of you.
All right, here we are. We are talking today about self-abandonment. Dun, dun, dun.
Bumble.
But I feel both Jess and I have been going through this similar path of talking about actually masking ourselves in view of trying to protect other people, which can then lead to self-abandonment. And then the repercussions of that, it might not seem so much to begin with, but when we start doing that as a repetitive habit, something we continue to fall into just as a protective mechanism or a way of smoothing over things but not really diving deep into what we need, then it can be destructive.
Absolutely. It's like an accumulative effect over time. Yeah.
Exactly. So Jess, what was your take on this? I know you had some ideas.
I was just doing some reflecting out of just something different, you know.
Something different, yeah.
And I was just thinking about the clients that I work with, but also my own past, and in particular relationship choices, difficulties with boundaries, and then also in addiction. So it kind of all connects these different areas together, that self-abandonment over time. So, and you were talking before kind of, it sounded like about almost people-pleasing, or
People-pleasing,
yeah, to maintain that connection with people, that sense of belonging and that connection, and then how that can impact on us to make these decisions that we might say yes to a lot of things, thinking, oh, I'll just keep the peace, or I just want to make them happy, or I don't want to lose them, so I'll just say yes. And yet over time, there can be this subtle anxiety bubbling away, brewing, getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Totally.
Because you're abandoning yourself, and you're not kind of protecting yourself the way that you kind of need to, as if you were looking after a child, I guess. And
reflecting on the theme of people pleasing.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of people will really resonate with this, in that we have a certain persona that we want to be seen as. And I think particularly in my industry, being an industry of being on the stage and being an entertainer and being someone who's quite, really exposed when it comes to me advertising my personality online. Sometimes it's really hard to uphold that, and the perfectionism comes out, and like, oh, well, if I come out as this messy person and I'm not composed all the time, maybe people will stop wanting to be my friend. Maybe people will stop wanting to follow me. Maybe people won't respect me as much if I'm rocking the boat. And
yes.
It's so hard as someone who, my whole thing is around self-expression. When I came up across a really big block the other day, and I realized that I was actually masking my emotions and I was numbing myself.
Yeah.
In a room full of professional people, I felt like I couldn't be myself because I had to have a certain mask on in this workshop I went to the other day. and it was one of those 9 to 5 things. Like we were on chairs the whole day, and I did not want to sit on a chair. I actually sat on the ground on a cushion.
Right.
Because it was almost like I actually was in denial. I didn't want to be there. And I didn't want to really be present because it was too hard to face what I was really feeling in the moment. So I sat on a cushion on the ground instead, and went through the workbook and did things that I could do in a way of masking what I actually wanted to say.
Yes, that's so beautifully put and shared, and so many people out there do that. It is that kind of denial of how you're really feeling because, should you express anger or frustration or, just not wanting to be there, then it could have detrimental effects.
And especially in the coaching space, when you're so used to holding space for other people and helping other people and reflecting, other people's problems and trying to help other people fix themselves, I suppose, because we don't, we don't fix other people. We allow the space for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be hard because you're so used to coming across as a teacher or a coach or an authoritative person that you don't take the time to check in with yourself and go, hey, wait a minute, I actually need to work on this. I'm ignoring this by standing on my professional pedestal of coaching other people rather than actually coaching myself because it's easier. It's less painful.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it can be one of our own mechanisms of avoidance, can't it? Focusing on other people's problems.
Which is a form of self-abandonment, which is our theme today.
Yeah, and it's so funny because when I'm really honest with myself, that's why I got into this profession. I'm not going to lie. Look, I'm not alone.
So many therapists. Why do we get into therapy? Because we needed it to begin with.
Yeah, and it's like, but I've observed so much, and I just want to know how I can help. But really, it's learning how you can help yourself, and it really takes that ongoing vulnerability and self-reflection that's very honest, very raw, and it takes a lot of courage to be open to that. Yeah.
The discomfort of actually sitting in there and feeling it and letting yourself feel in it. Like the other day when I got back from this workshop, I was ugly crying on the floor. And in the moment, I was like, this is a horrible feeling, but I knew that it was going to pass. And I was like, I just actually need to let this out at the moment.
Yeah, beautiful.
And instead of logicking it and trying to brain it and therapize myself, I was like, no, I'm just going to actually let myself cry because I just need to have a good old cry and express that emotion in the moment.
Yes.
But it had been so long since I'd actually done that because I'd been in the hat of business lady and podcast lady and
got it all together.
Yeah, the composed Virgo person.
Yeah.
That it was really hard to be messy.
Yeah.
Which is actually self-abandonment. Yeah.
Exactly. And it is shame that drives that self-abandonment as well. We don't want to experience the discomfort of shame that comes up because we've been conditioned to think that our emotions are ugly and uncivilized. But that's, we're human, and the more that we can connect to that humanness, then it's going to be a lot easier for us. It would have felt a lot easier for you once you finally let that cry out.
It was exhausting, to be honest. I think sometimes I don't want to cry because I know I'm going to have an emotional hangover after it.
Yeah, because it's been pent up for too long before that.
Yeah, that's when, and I'm going to really be honest here and say it's probably not healthy. But I definitely express, in other ways, and I think that's why I find it so easy to move through it when it does come. There's the emotional hangover, but then there's also the fact that it's okay, well, I can just go play some music or do what I need to do, sound healing, all that kind of stuff. So if someone was listening to this, Jess, and they wanted to work on what's the opposite of self-abandonment?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is self-compassion.
Self-compassion. Yeah. How do we work
And
more on self-compassion?
well, it's you were talking about
Oh,
like
wise
being around
Jess.
being
Tell me
around.
the ways. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't want to be the wise person. But I was talking, you were talking about being around influencers, right? And I
Yeah.
remember being in a workshop once, and the facilitator mentioned that the more that you're in the spotlight, the bigger your shadow. So if you think
Ooh.
about, the light shining directly on you, that casts a bigger shadow.
Yeah.
And so shadow work can be quite helpful in exploring, our
What
sides that
is
are not so
shadow
pleasant.
work? Because I feel like sometimes it's a bit buzzword online.
Yeah, totally. And look, when I say shadow work, I'm not, and because I'm a mental health social worker, like I can't say that it's like evidence-based therapy, but I personally like it for my own
Yeah.
self-exploration. And so shadow work is essentially exploring the parts of yourself that you might try and exile or silence, censor,
Mm.
the parts in particular that do bring it about shame. I'm ashamed of my anger, or I'm ashamed of the part of me that maybe is insecure or jealous or those types of things. And one telltale sign that you might have some shadow work to do, or that you could benefit from exploring, is like if you notice yourself judging other people for certain characteristics or qualities, then that actually, those same characteristics may be aspects of yourself that you're rejecting, that you don't like in yourself.
That old
Um,
chestnut. Yeah. I've seen it. I've
yeah,
had that one a few times.
yeah,
We've
yeah.
all had that. Yeah. But it's such a good thing. It's like, oh, hey, ooh, that triggers me. And trigger's another buzzword, by the way. Trigger.
I know.
But it is because it's actually triggering a shadow that needs to be seen in a way.
Yeah, yeah. Response.
You're putting the
That's
spotlight on it. Yeah.
exactly. And you're approaching it with curiosity, because that's how we cultivate compassion. For example, right? Like, and I've got a 6-month-old now, and she already has a big personality, and she already drives me nuts sometimes.
Yes.
And, but there's this compassion that you have there, like, oh, you're just a baby. Like,
Yeah.
of course, of course. And we have to understand that about ourselves, like, oh, we're just a human. It's okay. We've been told for such a long time that it's not okay to be human. You need to be, productive, I don't know, robots, or not in those words, but essentially we're supposed to just keep putting
I'd,
out
I'd
output.
like to add on that with our society of content creation. There is a lot of pressure to be constantly producing and busy and always pumping something out. And
Regardless of the quality, by the way.
yeah. And I mean, as much as we love doing what we do, it's actually so beneficial to have those rest periods and have some silence in between the content and the noise to then be messy and be human and actually just be a human being rather than a human doing.
Yeah.
And it's so hard nowadays because there's so much pressure to keep up with everything, constantly, checking your phone and keeping up with social media and going to the next event or uploading the next podcast in this instant. But hey, we love doing this. This is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, as an artist, it's exhausting. And sometimes I wonder why I'm doing it. Like, I know I'm doing it as a service because I'm really passionate about it, but there's those moments that I forget just to do it for me rather than doing it for the expectation or to uphold the validation for others, from others.
Yeah, yeah. It's this man-made expectation that's like, we don't actually have to, like, it's just a random thing that.
Like, who's saying that we have to do
Exactly
100 posts a week or, and I'm sure other business owners will feel this, like you have to wear so many hats.
Yeah.
But who's really holding the bar? Like, you're really the only one holding the bar for yourself.
Yeah.
You get to decide.
And it'll be those telltale signs again to remind us that perhaps we're not listening. Perhaps that inner child or that inner self or inner parts, they're screaming out for attention and to be heard, and like, hey, I need whatever it is. I need play. I need rest. I need connection. I need to socialize just for the sake of socializing.
I need to play shadow puppets with my shadows.
Exactly, whatever it is. And here we are looking the other way. We then become the parent that is so focused on work that they can't hear their child, or that whatever it is. But we're doing that to ourselves, and what that can result in, it can result in a numbing, in anxiety, overwhelm, stress, paralysis. It can contribute
autoimmune
to
systems.
Exactly. Yeah, physical illness.
Yeah, a lot of women, I find they suffer from that after years of doing that, the people pleasing and the self-abandonment. It turns into a physical illness.
100%. Yeah.
Which is really sad. So to finish this one up today, we're going to just send a really compassionate message out there to say, hey, remember to be a human being.
Yes. Your needs matter.
Your needs matter. And it's okay to take a bit of time out just to look after you. Thank you for tuning in to The Sound of Self. We hope today's episode inspired you with new insights and reflections.
If you enjoyed our conversation or found it helpful, consider sharing it with a friend or leaving us a review. Help us reach more people like you on their self-discovery journey.